This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSPORT Fan Network. TalkSPORT. Powered by fans.
Stars with a save. To the second here. A classic counter-attack and Gibbs White puts Nottingham Forest 2 ahead. Here's Wood. 1-0 Forest. To the goal. Has made an even bigger difference there. Nottingham Forest have snatched the lead at Anfield.
Hello, welcome to this Red Side of the Trent episode as we discuss Forest 2-0 snatch and grab win at the G-Tech at the hands of Brentford, doing the double over our arch rivals in them. That's 3 games unbeaten, back-to-back clean sheets in the Premier League and keeping that gap to 5 points over West Ham after their win over Sunderland at the weekend. Delighted to be joined by the OGs of Christian Brown, Lee Clark and Reese Lane. Christian, I'll start with yourself. Are you okay?
Yes, very well, thank you. How about yourself? You're good?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Lee Clark, are you well?
Yep, all good. Looking forward to being on after a win for a change, which is rare this season. So, yeah.
And Reese, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Is the Taiwo match worn on, or is that the one in the background?
That's the one in the background, yeah.
Oh, what a great win. Start with yourself, Reese.
Danny Fingergrammar.
Start with yourself, Reese. Thoughts on the game overall and just getting that win, really, because I feel like we might be all on the same boat of relief, to be honest.
Yeah, like I said, last pod, Brentford rightly going into this game as favourites because of where they are in the league and the home form, and yeah, we got that goal, didn't we? Which was a brilliant touch and finish from Jesus, gave us something to hang on to, and the game kind of, I'd say, petered away, really, didn't it? And to be honest, I know you said smash and grab at him because obviously the second goal was his only chance as the second half, but I don't think Brentford offered very much at all, to be honest. I think they were really poor, and that's a testament to how well we defended. So, over the moon, we've got the 3 points because, as like you said, West Ham winning yesterday put the pressure back on it. It's gave us that 5 point gap again. It's actually probably dragged a few others into it. You know, if Leeds don't get anything tomorrow, we're on the same points as them now. We beat Palace next weekend. We're on the same points as them. Tottenham are on a slippery slope at the minute. So hopefully we've got the ship, I think, steadied again, pointing the right way. And it's like, right, can we push on now? Because the next 3 Premier League games, I think we're looking for at least 2 wins out of them 3, aren't we, as fans?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Lee, carrying on from Reese, anything to add with that in terms of how you feel? Because like you said, it's been a rarity that you're coming on to talk about a Forest win, but delighted nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a bit cliche, but I always kind of say that I feel that we're a better side if we score first. And I just think if you can do that away, especially, I think you just put the emphasis straight back onto the home side to actually do something. And to be honest, they didn't really do it today, did they, Brentford? And I think that's probably testament to what we did and the game plan that we executed. It was an ugly win, but let's face it, there's not really any point in dissecting the style of play when we get the wins because it's Sean Dyche. It's going to be the same regardless. So, yeah, we think relief is the overriding emotion because after yesterday's result, I was kind of fearing the worst that that West Ham had kind of booked their ideas up and we'd not really shown much that suggests we were capable of certainly not going to Brentford and winning. I thought the best we might hope for was a goalless draw again like we did against Arsenal. But a nice surprise.
Yeah, Christian, last but no means least. I mean, Brentford have always been a thorn in our side. Like last season, obviously come to the City Ground when we were chasing Champions League football and did a number over us. But we've gone there back-to-back seasons and beat them by the same scoreline, actually, funny enough. But I just want you to touch on like the two clean sheets in a row in the Premier League. How big is that to build on now?
Massively, yeah. I mean, it's bedrock's running success for it, isn't it? Having a good defence. I don't think it's any surprise that since Aina's come back and that back four from last season, obviously with Sells as well coming back into Big John, it's sort of just clicked. Sangare and Anderson protect them very well, and they're both excellent today as well in midfield. But yeah, I mean, it does make a huge difference. I mean, this is the thing, like, we don't have bad players. I know obviously we effectively wrote 5 league games off by having Ange to begin with, but I still don't think that we're that bad at it. I still think we're in a false position. I think that's what makes the losses, when they do come, more frustrating, because it's the manner of how we lose rather than losing games. Everyone's going to lose games. No one's in football for glory. But normally, the only positives we've had from losing games recently is that other teams around us have lost as well. There's been nothing to take from a Forest performance. So, I mean, even today, I didn't think we were particularly good today. I thought for the first half hour we were, but for the rest of the game, we particularly weren't. I mean, I thought Reece was being a bit generous, to be honest. I thought there were plenty of times Brentford could have scored today. Igor, Taiwo sliced one wide when he had time and space in the box, should have scored. They put a free header over, should have scored. They missed a one-on-one, should have scored. On another day, we lose that game pretty comfortably. Thankfully, we didn't, and we did our bit and dug in and did what we needed to do. But yeah, I think it's just how I think you can use the back four confidence, knowing you can get clean sheets again. I mean, obviously we got 13 last season. We've been way off that this season for a number of different reasons, but yeah, it's pleasing. Obviously, it sounds obviously very elementary, but get a clean sheet, you don't lose. So yeah, it was nice to see us be our resilient defensive self today, despite the chances that we gave up, because we were good defensively. Like the players will highlight today, will be defensive ones because they all did their part.
Yeah, I think you all made really good points. I'm going to get into some comments. Thank you very much for anyone who's joined. Beardo, Taiwo, will you please score a goal for me? Lewis Morris, Big T of old hat. Dave Bullen, so Forest, 6 points versus Brentford, pushing for Europe. I mean, 7 points our last 3 games, Dave. I think you'll have to remember that. Beat Liverpool and Spurs, but look like League One standards for Fulham, Villa, and Everton, home and away. Joachim, a very strange game. We looked lost in the second half, lost the ball a lot, but we won. Tom Newton, huge win, credit where credit is due. Still not a fan of Dyche, but a much better display. Brilliantly worked goals, needs to find consistency. Won't call it smash grab, though. I felt comfortable. Fair enough. Lee, no coincidence, since we've got last season's back 5 will look stronger. Palace are there for the taking now. Macintosh, big up the host, wearing their hearts on their sleeve, getting us finish showing it. Thank you very much. It's what make this pod great. Thank you very much, Steve. Hello, gentlemen from Clearwater, Florida. Massive day today. I hope the weather's nicer than it is here. So thank you very much for joining. Lee, hope the sciatica is better.
Yes, it's getting much better actually. I bought this fancy new cushion that's really helped. So yeah.
And then FF Wiz, we defended incredibly. Murillo, Milenkovic and Sangari were colossal, in my opinion. Not many teams can be expected to outplay Brentford at the G-Tech. Very true. I think the only 3 teams that have got a better home record are the top 3 in Villa, City and Arsenal. So it goes to show that getting a result there, never mind a win, is pretty hard to come by. But let's get into the game. Christian, I'll start with yourself. Unchanged from Arsenal, did you expect anything different? Did you think we would go a bit more attacking with actually 2 wingers, perhaps? And obviously, good to have Jesus back in that lineup because we looked lost in midweek without a striker.
Yeah, it's pleasing to see Jesus back on the team sheet. Again, we didn't really know the severity of his injury. Obviously, the way we've disguised injuries this season has been a cause of concern, I suppose. I mean, for example, we've been constantly told that Wood's been back, not back, on grass, whatever else, and the reality is he's probably out for the season. So when we heard that he had a knock, I think we all sort of thought the worst, as how severe is this knock? Does he still have a leg, for example? So it was quite nice to see him back actually pretty quickly. Otherwise, no, I think we all tipped us to lose, didn't we? I think we all expected the Forest to go there with a game plan of not to lose and hope for the best, really. And putting the Minguez on the wing sort of suggests that. I don't mean that in a negative sense as well, just because if you are seeing the Minguez on the wing, you get a lot defensively. He runs himself into the ground. He always does that, but he offers you so much more solidity. So when you see him out wide, normally it's obviously reserved, I suppose, for the Sky 6 sides, but I guess it's needs must at the minute, isn't it? So, yeah, not really a lot of surprise from that sort. The only surprise for me really was seeing Luiz out the squad entirely, which tells me that he's probably on his way, which is a big shame for me personally. I still think he's a lot to offer us, but the fact he's probably going to Chelsea says a lot about his ability as a footballer. But again, it is what it is, I suppose, to quote a former manager.
Yeah,
I don't buy that illness thing for 1 second. He's very clearly being told he can go.
We'll touch on Douglas Luiz a little bit later on. But Lee, Brentford had the first half chance from Igor, Taiwo, and then we had one ourselves. Brilliant work from Morgan Gibbs-White. We'll talk about that in a moment. But then Sangare did something out of the unordinary from this season, where he gave the ball away in our own box, and where Brentford looked like they should have capitalised. We've gone down the other end and scored, which was quite nice, and a brilliant goal from Igor Jesus. So, I mean, just talk us through all that kind of period of play, I guess.
Yeah, to be honest, I love it, Sangare. Everyone knows that. I don't think it was his best game today, I've got to be honest. I think we've seen him play much, much better this season. His positional sense has massively improved. That was still good, but I thought it was a little bit sloppy in possession, certainly in the first 20 minutes. Obviously, it nearly cost us a goal in the build-up to our goal. Yeah, great to have Aina back in the team. Again, I think we've all kind of praised Savona on this podcast, but the drop-off in quality is significant when Aina doesn't play, to be fair. Yeah, I didn't think he was going to get a crossover. I think it's poor defending from, was it the left back? I'm not sure if it was the
Rico Henry.
It was. Yeah, I just thought he'd done his job really well, and I thought he was just going to probably get it out for a corner, but he managed to get his cross in, and then what a goal. I mean, it's been said that Jesus isn't a goal scorer, but I mean, that showed all the hallmarks of a really good goal scorer. So maybe there's an element that he is kind of getting to grips with. There's going to come a point where all these games he's playing, something's going to click for him. And hopefully now he can go on a little run in the Prem so that people kind of stop this. Oh, he's only scored twice in the Prem. If you could have a little run of 5 or 6 games, I know that's really ambitious, but with the fixtures we've got coming up, he'll be looking at them as the centre forward, stepping up and scoring even more goals. So, yeah, it was just a really good finish. It was just nice that we seemed to get that. I think when we've been getting bad results, we've not really had the lucky breaks in the box. And it was nice that he actually managed to touch it onto his foot and just hit it first time. So, yeah, good to see. I thought it was quite bizarre, I guess, if you like, that we've now got a new striker waiting in the wings, and both the strikers that we've been playing for the last God knows how many months went and scored in the same game. So all of a sudden, Dyche has got a headache with 3 strikers to call upon when for months he seemingly just had to pick Jesus. So, yeah, great finish.
Yeah, he definitely took it as a striker that doesn't look like he's scored only 1 Premier League goal, and that's for certain. But yeah, strange. Reece, we came a bit under the cosh after that. I thought Brentford took control of the game. We kind of retreated like 10-15 yards back, which I didn't like to see. But I think the only really moment to talk about for the rest of the first half is Matt Sells' save from Dango Wataro, who is a bit of a nemesis. He used to score quite a lot of goals for Bournemouth against us. So nice to actually see that he got denied. But Matt Sells looks like he's back to his best, in my opinion. I feel like we've got him back. I thought he was good from everything aerially today as well, and against Arsenal.
Well, I'll give you my little football fact for this pod. It is actually a year to this day since Dango scored a hat-trick past us at Bournemouth away.
Well, right, blimey.
It came up on my footballology today. So, yeah, he should have scored. I actually thought Sells was quite slow to come off his line there, and had he actually would have gambled, would have put himself in an awkward situation, because he would have either took it round him and scored or brought him down. But thankfully, the finish was poor, and then Sells kind of redeemed himself with a good save. Matt Sells has always been, in my opinion, a great shot stopper. I know we've probably had a few goals this season where we think should have done better with that. It's just obviously his aerial presence from crosses and that, really, in corners. Even today, I know he's kept a clean sheet. There's a couple where he flapped at a little bit, in my opinion, but I can't grumble too much because he's kept a clean sheet. Plus, something I will note is that we've played 2 back-to-back sides in the Premier League who are renowned for set pieces, and we've not conceded from either of them. So that's a positive, because it's something we've complained about on this pod, saying Dyche hasn't sorted this thing out. So it's a start, you know what I mean? Especially against, Arsenal and Brentford. So, yeah, I thought the first half was a bit of a half of 2 halves. I thought first 25 minutes, thought we were really good. I thought they then grew into it, and we kind of needed half time to regroup a little bit. But second half, I didn't think. I know Christian mentioned Taiwo on where he did shank it at the back post. I didn't think there was never really. I expected a wave of attack from Brentford, and it never really came. I thought the second half just kind of petered away, very similar to like when we played Everton at home, really. Similar type of game. The game just kind of peed to the way, and then they scored a second on the break, didn't they, like we did, and that was game over then.
Do you think Mikel Damsgaard going off for them made a bit of a difference? Because he was seeming to get things ticking for them. He was popping up in a lot of different positions, and you know what quality he's got on the ball. To be fair to him, he's quite an underrated player, I feel like, in the Premier League.
Yeah, very tidy footballer. I think those will remember that free kick against England in the Euros. Yeah, he is a tidy footballer, but I don't think he's been playing loads and loads for them, has he?
I think he's been injured quite a fair bit.
Is that it? I seen he was on the bench a week, and TalkSPORT mentioned it. And you know, I know how the media blows stuff out of proportion, but yeah, I thought it was getting on top before that, to be honest, and that kind of bringing Dango on, who's just spent 40 million quid on him, and he's rapid, and like you said, Adam is a bit of a nemesis from last season, so. Yeah, I was just pleased we got to half-time 1-0 up, because that just gave us something to hold on to. And you knew second half Brentford had to kind of do something. And I didn't think they really did too much. And that's a testament to us, because I thought physically Murillo and Milenkovic bullied anybody who tried to run into the box. It was any pass down that channel. It was just a quick shoulder barge, and then he nudged them off the ball, whether that was Schade, whether that was Thiago, whether that was Jensen or whoever else. So, yeah, credit to the centre halves today.
Yeah, Christian, second half, saw a stat appear 15 minutes in that said Forest had made 12 passes in 15 minutes. I'm going to repeat that, 12 passes in 15 minutes. I don't care that we're winning. It's unacceptable. I generally thought it was a matter of not if Brentford score, but when. Did you ever feel like that? Because I know what Reece is saying, like Murillo and Milenkovic kind of had on lock, but I just felt like the way we was playing was asking for it, and we know what Forest are like. The more pressure we tend to take on, the more likely it is a team is going to punish us. And then I felt like if Brentford did score one, they'd go off and get a winner. So how did you feel that second half?
Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? I mean, I feel for the attacking players really massively. I mean, I'm pretty sure Gibbs White. I don't obviously stats could reflect this differently. I'm fairly sure he didn't touch the ball for about 20 minutes at the start of the second half. And it was just like, not from no fault of his own. It was just a case of, it was just boom ball, weren't it? Proper Dyche football. Our centre-backs would just smash it up the pitch. There'd be no attempt to retain it, or we couldn't get it. It was coming straight back every single time. But, I mean, to be fair, I kind of see what Reece is saying in a sense, because it didn't really... The way Brentford... It was very similar to how the Everton game, actually, because the way we tried to attack them sort of played into our strengths, if that makes sense. In the, Milenkovic was going to win most headers in the air against those two. Murillo was going to body those two very comfortably. Schade got no joy out of him, as did Thiago. So while they did have a lot of the ball, and it did look pretty ominous, they weren't really creating any chances or weren't testing the goalkeeper. I'm pretty sure Sells' only save in the game actually was that 1-on-1 in the first half. So they would have had like half chances and decent opportunities, but they weren't making the most of them. I do think that it got, the more it went on, the more it felt like, yeah, okay, this probably isn't going to be Brentford's day. Obviously, you don't want to say that as a Forest fan, because you know what it's like with Forest. But it just didn't feel like anything was going for them. Obviously, that doubles. It wasn't just Damsgaard that went off in the first half. Obviously, Aya went off at the same time. It kind of gave me shades of when McKenna and Bolly went off against Fulham in that first season up for us, when they both went off at the same time. When things like that start to go against you, it's sort of like, yeah, even the chances they were missing, 99 times out of 100. If you played that game 10 times, they probably win it 9 times with the chances they actually did create. They just weren't taking them. They were just ballooning headers over. They were just being wasteful in key positions. They were overplaying it and doing, silly things, which obviously we were massive beneficiaries of. So yeah, I entirely see your side of things in that it wasn't exactly a comfortable watch, but equally I do see where Reece is coming from in that they weren't necessarily carving us to a degree. It did feel like they were building momentum, but there wasn't anything at the end of it.
I think the way I see it is, because if we weren't 1-0 up, we'd all be having a different conversation. Obviously,
oh god, if we lost that game, we would be fuming. I think Tom Head got it bang on our chat earlier when he said, look, when we win, it's a case of holding your nose and saying good result, move on. When you lose, it's stomach turning, it's eye bleeding. You want everyone sacked because it's a disgraceful performance. But these are the fine margins in football, really, to quote another former manager. But yeah, I mean, this is what I mean, though, when it comes to Dyche, that there are no positives when you don't win a game of football. you're right. If we lost today, he would have been sacked. There's no doubt in my mind about performance. He would have been sacked. So because it would have been awful. Because really, what did we create today? We created something out of nothing for the first goal, which Jesus did tremendously well with. Sangare had a shot just wide afterwards, which again came from him forcing a mistake. And then we've asked Taiwo to basically do what Callum Awoniyi did against Utrecht and create a goal out of absolutely nothing. Otherwise, what did we create? So, okay, we've won and we can be very happy we've won, but it's not sustainable football. It just isn't.
Yeah, you'll have to apologise. I have to apologise for the order of play, Lee, because you did get the first goal. So I'm going to go to Reece for the second with his Taiwo shirt in the background. I mean, Gibbs White, first time he's probably touched the ball in about 40 minutes of that half, and then plays the ball down the line, which is probably more hopeful than anything. Just to say, Taiwo, let's release some pressure. But did anyone ever expect him to turn into prime R9 and finish that? Because I definitely didn't, and I was actually screaming for him to square it to Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah, I mean, God, when he's played this season, we've spoken about it from the pod loads. He just looked completely done, hasn't he? And then when he touched it through, did he touch it through his legs or kind of round? Was it Nathan Collins?
Yeah, I think
I'm going to say this because I actually I'll tell you a story. I actually put Collins back in my FPL, and my two defensive subs on the bench both scored yesterday, which were Van Dijk and Van der Ven, and Collins I put back in. So it was always going to happen, wasn't it? But once he touched it round him, I was like, go on then. Like, footballers, you might think, the best days are behind them, but they're still professional footballers at the end of the day. They can still produce moments, you know what I mean? That's why you see it happens in the FA Cup at times. Teams from lower leagues produce a moment against, we've just seen it with Macclesfield and Palace. Like Christian says, 9 times out of 10, Palace will probably win, but there is that one time when it can happen. But once he touched it round him and he was in, I was like, he can. I actually fancied him to score quite weirdly. And yeah, and even then he didn't. I wouldn't say he did it kind of naturally. I think someone slid in. I think it was Kyoto 110, and it was a bit of kind of pinball, I guess, with bodies flying everywhere. And then he finished it under Kelleher. But fair play to him, mate. Tremendous finish. Great run and tremendous finish. And that just that finished the game off, didn't it? I mean, I just shocked still, really. It was just nice because I was like, my mum and dad came for dinner today and we all watched it round mine, and I was saying, like, this game's either going to finish 1-0 or Brentford are going to find a way back into it. I didn't think we'd score a second goal because, we were just pretty much sat back, weren't we, the whole second half. So to actually score it, and then that just takes all the air out their balloon, doesn't it? They're finished after that. They know the game's over. And so, I mean, just looking at some stats here. So there were 3 shots on target today in the whole game. 2 have gone in. And Dango should have scored his as well. And Brentford have had 3 big chances, according to Flash Scores. And they had an XG of just under 2. So, I didn't think they were quite at it today. And we've defended well. So, look, it's going to be like this under Sean Dyche. I agree what Christian said. I think when you win, you're on a high because we're in a relegation battle and we need points. It's when we lose, it's like, it's really bad. But this is going to be the rest of the season. I've said this countless times, really. It's going to be, I think, 1 week where you're frustrated, 1 week where you're really happy because we've won. It's just, like I said at the start of the pod, we've now got the ship straight again. And you're looking at the games, what you've got coming up and thinking, Palace are in disarray at the minute. I actually think if we beat them, I actually think Glasgow will go. I actually think they'll probably say, look, enough's enough, because they are really sliding. And he's going at the end of the season anyway. So I don't think that will make a difference. And then, Leeds away, Leeds are playing really well, to be fair to them. But, the next team above us, we could go into that game potentially being above Leeds, for example. And then you've got the bottom side at home who have picked up a bit, Wolves, to be fair to them, but they're still bottom of the league. So we've got to kind of build on that. And another, I guess, positive is that I want to win the game on Thursday because we'll get a higher position and we'll get probably an easier time. The second leg will be at home then. But if we did lose that, it's not going to be as bad as it was at Braga, you know what I mean, where the result doesn't mean as much in terms, because we've already qualified for the playoff, you know what I mean? So it can probably fully rotate that, really, without thinking I've got to maybe play the likes of, I don't know, Gibbs White and Jesus if he's not 100% and plays like that. So, I'm just really pleased we've got the ship straight again. I just hope now we can push on again, because we're back to, like I said earlier, where we was our field pre-Fulham, where we've got a real good chance to kind of move away now from the relegation zone. I just hope we can do it.
Yeah, I mean, Lee, just following on from what Reece just said, now it's the next 3 games are a chance to put it away and almost put ourselves in mid-table and chill for a little bit, if anything. Like I know I don't want to do that. I want us to keep. I want to push as far up this league as we possibly can. But it's funny because this is the first win I feel like we've had under Dyche, which actually really like been a Dyche performance where it's been a bit turgid and backs to the walls, but we've got out of it with 3 points. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but maybe you do.
I think the Wolves game was that game you're on about. That Wolves.
Oh yeah, that was
win.
bad.
That was possibly the worst game of football I have ever seen at a professional level. And bearing in mind, I've watched. It's going to sound awful, but I've watched like Mansfield in the conference. You know, that game was terrible. That was the sort of game that we used to belittle when we were in the Championship for 23 years. Oh, as if this is a Prem game and us and Leeds are in the Championship. But yeah, I kind of know what you mean. I'll be honest with you, just to touch on your point about you were watching it in the second half and you thought it was a case of when, not if Brentford have scored. I really didn't feel like that. I genuinely didn't. I think it's interesting that Reece has said that there was only 3 shots on target in the whole game. I genuinely felt that was certainly the most comfortable I've felt under Dyche, in the sense that I didn't really feel they'd score. I didn't really see it as every time they went forward, they caused an absolute calamity at the back, and there was people throwing the bodies in the way and that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, nothing else to add really other than that. Just like I say, just overriding emotion is relief. It's just like Reece says, we've got the ship straight again. This is probably the last chance we'll get, to be fair, because you look at our fixtures and coming up, you've got City and Tottenham away. I know Tottenham aren't playing well, but at home, that's where they're going to turn their season round. Yeah, I mean, I shuddered yesterday after the West Ham score. Started looking at our fixtures and I saw our last 4 fixtures. We could really do with being saved by those last 4 weeks, because it's the sort of run that you dread if you're in a situation where you still need points for survival. So, yeah, I think this next run of 3 games will probably give us a proper indication of whether we're going to go up or whether we're going to stay up or go down, I guess.
Just to add, with Tottenham, they're actually the second worst team in the league at home, but they're the 4th best away.
Well, I do say that on the back of watching them thrash Dortmund, I suppose, in the Champions League. But yeah, I see what you mean. I know what you mean.
You could have used the example for the first season as us when Conte had set the place on fire and he still beat us.
They're proper Jekyll and Hyde as well. But no, we'll move on, and we've got a few more things to go through. Let's give a shout out to our sponsors in Trent Side Threads. Plenty of shirts on there. TrentSideThreads.co.uk. Use RSOT for 10% off. I am rocking the Ola Aina shirt today. It's not as cold in my house because the heating's on. It's lovely. And then Vesta Blinds. So stylish, high quality, made to measure blinds and shutters at a great price. Give your home the perfect finishing touch with stunning, expertly fitted window coverings from Vesta Blinds. That's vestablinds.com. So thank you very much for both of our sponsors. Thank you very much for people who are getting involved in the comments. Stephen says, let's hope Jesus will now have the confidence he needs to become the striker we need. And he also followed up with masterclass in low block football. Neither Thiago nor Shada got sniffed today. I mean, Christian, I'll let you answer this. Sounds like you would have preferred us to lose so we could sack Dyche, which I don't believe that. No, I don't believe you'd ever want us to lose a game of football.
No, it's the same with Ange. Obviously, I absolutely despised Ange, and I knew exactly how that was going to go, and lo and behold, that's exactly how it went. Did I want Forest to lose games because it might get him close to the sack? No, of course not.
Who do you hate more?
What, out of Ange or Dyche?
Yeah.
It's pretty close at the minute, but still probably
neither are on your Christmas.
Dyche has won us quite a lot of games.
Yeah, at least he's not that bad. But I mean, this is the thing. Like, I mean, we could have. I've always found this argument quite funny, really, because like we could have, Martin Waghorn in charge of Nottingham Forest. I wouldn't care. Like, as long as Forest won, it's null and void, really. We won today. Yeah, it's great. Does it change how I feel about Dyche? No, but it's massively more important than the football club than what I think about the manager. For what it's worth, I think now we realistically, with where we are now, 15 games to go, I think if we can win 5 of those, we'll be fine. I think because that'll take us to 40 points. That's not including draws. Even if we've lost 10 games and won 5, I still think that'd probably be enough. Because realistically, I mean, West Ham as well, from a psychological perspective, how must they be feeling? You know, they've got a last-minute winner against Spurs. They've turned Sunderland over, and they're still 5 points behind us. That must be pretty demoralising, really. And then, realistically speaking, again, you're looking at for them to stay up or to overtake us because of that 5 points. Again, let's say that we do lose 10 games and win 5 and get to 40. They're going to need to win 7. So 7 out of 15 games are going to need to win realistically to overhaul us if we hit that target. Which, that's Europa League qualification form. They aren't going to show that realistically. So all we can do is look after ourselves. Do I think we'll win these 5 games? I mean, I didn't think we'd win today, and we did. So the players are there. The team is there. I've always maintained that we do have a set of players that are more than good enough to stay in this league and to kick on in this league and be a decent player. I've seen one of the comments there saying, imagine this team with Marco Silva or Glasner at the helm. We'd be miles out of danger. We'd be comfortably mid-table, looking forward to we'd be treating every year. We'd probably be rotating for the Prem and going full strength in Europe. That's how comfortable we'd be. But
Fulham
so
are 7th
it's
now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They're 7th.
Exactly.
Flying.
How many games was it when we played Fulham ago?
Yeah, we can't be more than like 5, 6, 7 games.
We could have gone above than that now.
Yeah.
Had we won. So
ultimately, what's most important than anything else is the club staying in this league. And we are well equipped to do that in terms of on the fields. Are we from a staff perspective? I remain very unsure. But we have to hope I'm wrong, won't we?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to do everyone's not so slept on it thoughts.
Red side of the Trent. Slept on it thoughts.
Poor Alex has been through the ringer this week. Went to obviously Braga on Thursday with yourself, Christian, and Reese, and then decided to go to Brentford today, and he was really fearing for it. So he's got in touch, obviously. Bipolar Forest strike again. No idea how we managed to go from looking so inept on Thursday to looking so comfortable today. One real save from ourselves to make. Morello and Milenkovic back to their best, but huge shout out to our big T, Mark Baker. I'd happily take a win. Lucky for us, Deitch is Brentford's kryptonite, and they always struggle against his size. I just don't get that we can play football for 25 minutes and look good and score. Then Deitch panics and reverts to type, please for Taiwo. Johnny Ancliffe, huge free decent first half, dug in second half with a replica of a Nuno side last season. Credits to Deitch where it's due. Still needs to go in the summer, but hopefully he'll keep us up now. Danny Tring, massive hard-earned 3 points. Not going to overanalyze it, just pure relief. Great goal by Igor. Today's Taiwo's day. Unreal goal changed the game. Unreal goal changed the game when he came on to find me a Forest fan. That goal didn't strike a chord with emotionally. Then I'd question their heart. Grommet, get the flag. Tom Newton went to the game today like everyone else. I was expecting very little. Brilliant first 25 minutes. Unbelievable finish from Igor. When we needed him most, Taiwo sealed the game with a brilliant goal. Only 5 minutes before he looked knackered. Massive win. Need to be consistent now. Mark, one good chance each. We took ours whilst the opposition didn't. Then put a great defensive display on show. Nuno-esque players clearly playing for Deitch, and he can get a tune from his first choice 11. Need to get to summer. Delight for Taiwo, brilliant run and goal. Cole Booth, solid away performance after disaster. That was Braga. Never felt we were massively under the cosh today, but glad we killed the game with 10 to go. We signed a striker, and our 2 fit strikers do that today. Could only be Forest. On to Palace. Tom Payne, superb win. Thought we were excellent first half hour and actually looked a threat. Great work from Iron and quality finish from Igor. We dropped deeper as the game went on, but stayed solid. Some limbs in that away end. One big T turned into Pele. Massive win. Sunday huge now. Capanosity, first Premier League double over a former thorn in our side. Forest doing to Brentford what so many Dutch teams have done to others in the past. Brentford wonder how they lost that. Get the under 21s to bin off their European competition and focus on Europa League. Ben, 3 points that all that matters. 2 strikers, goals. It's not sustainable long term, but exactly what is needed now. I'm fed up of Dutch ball, but should do the job until summer. 4th manager uncertainly won't help, in my opinion. If we did that exact performance last season, we love Nuno for it. Last but no means least, FPL Webbo. Can you get Christian on the next pod pre-match and have him all down and depressed and predicts we get hammered again? Poor lad said we'd get hammered by Arsenal and hammered by Brentford. He's our good luck charm. Lots of love for you, Christian, this week, obviously. But yeah, no, thank you very much for everyone getting in touch. Thank you everyone in the comments. 266 people here. If you can do drop a like and a subscribe, is our fancy button. It does go a long way. doing well on the Facebook as well with everything that Reece is doing in terms of social media. So thank you very much for all your support. We'll move on. Christian, some kind of news. Well, actually, no, we'll do player performances first. I'll start with yourself. It's going to be a lot of defensive players, it must be said. Murillo today, I thought was, although passing was to be desired, I thought defensively was resolute.
To be fair, he still did give us that absolutely gorgeous no-look slide ball pass.
So unnecessary.
So good. I mean, no, he was outstanding today, Murillo. Again, like I said earlier, him and Milenkovic as a pairing were just so good today. They looked rock solid. Had a lot thrown at them. They dealt with most of it pretty well. Obviously, with the amount of volume that they did have to deal with, there would inevitably be an instance where Brentford would get obviously opportunities. I mean, the biggest, I suppose it was the 87th minute, that free kick that came in, and they suddenly turned like a 6 against 3 into a 3 against 0 and put a free header over. But aside from that, like, he was brilliant. Like, the amount of times he bullied Sharda and just like sent him absolutely flying, completely fairly, of course, shoulder to shoulder, just bodied him off the ball. Again, brilliant. Like I said to you, like if Ancelotti was watching that game on a beach in Rio de Janeiro somewhere with like a fag in his hand and whatever else, just watching his strikers, obviously with Igor Jesus and Igor Thiago, he probably would have seen Murillo as well and thought, oh, he's good. Maybe he's worth a recall. He was outstanding today, Murillo. Again, it feels a case of like enjoying these players while we still have them, unless we do something remarkable in Europe. But yeah, it's going to be a real sad day when he goes, because he was top draw today.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't go to another Premier League club. I said this on Twitter because he'll inevitably score a worldie that he's been threatening so many teams with.
Screamer off the bar.
Yeah, he will. For someone who I hate, like Chelsea. Like, honestly, Lee, I'm going to give you his defensive partner in Milenkovic, who I thought was equally just as good today. Head it and kick it. Kind of didn't really have anything else to do other than head it and kick it because we just couldn't get out of our half.
Yeah, I did my player ratings on the whistle, and I think he was the only one I gave a 9 to. Yeah, very good. I mean, we always say that Sangare helps Anderson kind of do his stuff and shine. I think the same can be said about Milenkovic when Murillo's alongside him. I don't think Milenkovic has got that. I think he worries too much about the other player coming in, because obviously there's a massive drop in quality if Murato or Kuna comes in. Yeah, very good. I still maintain he should be captain, and that's nothing against. Well, I mean, the club captain doesn't play anyway in the Prem, so that I suppose that is against him because he doesn't play, and your captain needs to be someone who's always playing. Gibbs White, as good as he is, I think he's the talisman of the team, and I do think he takes a lot of pride in the captaincy. But I just think Milenkovic is always the one that's getting everyone G'd up and getting everyone going. I mean, thinking about it, is the role of the captain kind of dropping somewhat? I know it's still important, but is it as important as it used to be when you always had kind of the vocal presence wearing the armband? I'm not sure, but yeah, he's certainly the player that I look up to get us going from the back. He's always waving his arms somewhere or telling someone they're in the wrong place. So yeah, it's such a good signing for the money we paid for him as well. I think it's always important to mention that 12 million. Touchwood, he's always fit, he's always available, and yeah, just what more can you say? He was just he thoroughly deserved his clean sheet. I'm at the point where I think he'd slide tackle his own granny for 3 points and a clean sheet. I really do. I think he's just that sort of player. Throw him a brick, he'll just jump and head it back. He's just a real colossal presence in our defensive unit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was a stat I think read out actually that Morgan Gibbs White he's only behind Steve Chettle for outfield players that he's made less appearances than in a Forest shirt in the Premier League. So quite a good record to have, I guess, if Gibbs White does pass that, which he might well do. Reece, I'm going to give you. I mean, it's really hard to pick out from the rest of the team because there wasn't really unbelievable performances. I think I'm going to go with Ola Aina though, because I think since he's come back and we have looked more solid. Although after that run for the assist he got, I don't think he ran past our winger for the rest of the game. Personally, he's just. I think that's what's ever separated him from being at like an elite level player. Is his fitness?
Yeah, I've said it countless times. He's got kind of a heavyweight boxer kind of fitness, and he kind of hits a wall and then gets that kind of second wind and gasses out. But
did you ever listen to Peter Crouch pod where he's on about pancakes? How many sprints you'll do? That's all I know. Like 3 sprints a game.
Yeah, I don't think it's any surprise to anyone, is it, that Irena's come back and the defence is looking better because he's one of the best right backs in the league when he's at full flight. Proved that last season. I thought Savona did okay. He had good games, he had a few all right games. I mean, you saw midweek the quality levels because Savona was dire in midweek against a very average side, if you want to even say that. So yeah, it's great to have him back in the Premier League, and we've got that back 5 together from last season. The band's back together at the back. So yeah, I just hope he can keep his fitness up and just keep kind of in terms of coming back from injury. And I just hope he can, keep building on it really and keep that back 5 together, because that's going to be his best chance of staying in the league in terms of defensive solidity. Is that back 5 staying fit, especially all of them, because you've not got a left back at the minute to cover Nico. Savona will come in for Aina, but it's a big drop off, and we've seen the drop off with Murillo being injured and Morato comes in. So yeah, hopefully he can stay fit, mate, and keep pushing on. So yeah, it's been brilliant to see him back, and as well, just his mood around the whole place, and he's a joker, and he's like always, the mood's always up when he's around, and I think everybody kind of buys into him, don't he, like in the squad and that. So it's just great that he's back, mate. Delighted to see him back.
Yeah. Just moving on, Christian, I will start with yourself with this. So it looks like Douglas Luiz may go to Chelsea randomly. I mean, he's not good enough for us, but he's good enough for them. I know they've got a lot of players to rotate and everything else. And obviously, Lorenzo Luca has come in to bolster our strike force. 6'7" from Napoli on loan for the rest of the season, with an option to buy at 40 million euros, which seems a bit steep if you listen to any people that are interested in Serie A football. What do you make of those two players and that scenario that could be coming?
I'll start with Luca. I think we saw in the first 20 minutes of the second half where he might be needed, just in terms of an out. When we will whenever we play like that more often than not with Deitch, we know that. And as much as I like Igor, he doesn't have the build. He takes the ball down beautifully. There's no denying that, but he doesn't have the build to consistently win headers against big burly centre halves. It sort of has to sort of come at him at a certain height, and he can take it down. He looks great, like against Man City, for example. He looked like Buddy Drogba that game, didn't he? Taking the ball down and whatever else. But that's not going to happen consistently, unfortunately. At least with Luca, you think you might be able to get the attacking players around him a bit closer when we are playing like that. So if he does to win the ball, we can at least just give it to a red shirt, and then they can sort of do something with it higher up the pitch rather than whatever else. But yeah, so that's the problem. Obviously, his goal record leaves a lot to be desired. It seems like the majority of his goals have come at Serie D or Serie C, so that doesn't really bode well. But he seems to have a good season last season with Udinese. Hopefully, he can get on the end of some of these crosses that we swing into him, and yeah, he can be enough to get us these 5 wins that we need to cross the line. As for Luiz, like I said earlier, it is a huge shame for me because in terms of technical ability, he is probably the best midfielder we have at the club, I'd say. It just feels like a real shame because obviously, he'd probably be an ideal Anderson replacement for next season. Like if you're saying Anderson's going for £100 million, you've got Douglas Luiz there. You're thinking, oh, we're set, we're sorted. You've replaced him extremely well if he can stay fit. Which, to be fair, he has been fit. He has been fit for the last 2-3 months, Luiz. He's been on the bench. He just hasn't been picked. And, I know a few people said about his body language being a bit off against Braga and stuff like that. I don't blame him, to be honest. I don't blame him or anyone with any attacking molecule in their system to be particularly pleased at how we're playing at the moment. But they're obviously professional enough to get the job done regardless, to try their best to. Again, it speaks volumes, doesn't it, that he's not good enough for Sean Dyche, but he apparently is good enough for a team in the Champions League that has aspirations to, be in a top 4 fight this season. Yeah, it just feels like a real shame how that's all been handled. So I think he does have a lot to offer Nottingham Forest Football Club. It's just very disappointing. I think we're going to see it.
Lee, anything to add to them two players? Obviously, Lewis going and Luca coming in.
I mean, yeah, people are writing Luca off already, aren't they? Because some random hipster who posts TikTok videos from his bedroom says that his goal scoring record's not very good. Certain players suit certain clubs. Yeah, I'm certainly not going to start writing a player off before he's kicked a ball for us wearing our shirt. It's the age old cliche though, isn't it, with Forest fans? Oh, bloody hell, sign a striker. Oh, not him. What are we signing him for? You asked for a striker. We've got one that fits what Sean Dyche wants to do pretty much perfectly. Is he the best name we could get? Probably not. Is he capable of doing a job? Based on what he did last season at Udinese, possibly. So just got to get behind him and see what he can do. Douglas Luiz is a real shame. Sick of seeing comments like, well, he's not going to play at Chelsea either. That's not the point. The point we're trying to make is that a team that's in the Champions League and chasing that competition again this season is taking one of our players, yet he can't get a kick for us. I get the whole fitness thing. But for me, it'd be that if anything happens to Anderson or Sangare, while we need Dominguez to play in a wide position further up the pitch, then Luiz should be the first drop for the centre midfield position. So you're essentially getting rid of your next man up. So we've seen that this isn't our first rodeo at Forest, is it? How much you betting Anderson or Sangare gets injured the moment he's been unveiled with a Chelsea scarf? It's just how it's going to go. So yeah, I think it's a shame. I think that I don't think he's this world beater that some fans are making out, but he's technically brilliant. I don't really buy this body language thing. I think he's a player who probably has got that air of arrogance about him. He probably appreciates he's a good player. He's Brazilian after all. So yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily buy that. I think people often want to make out some sort of attribute that he's got that we're not going to miss in the slightest, when in reality with this one, I think we just need to turn around and hold our hands up and say, do you know what? Probably wasn't right for us, but we are letting... I just think it's risky for the sake of... Okay, I get this whole clause that's going to come in if we play him so many times, but I just think for what we got left, 16 games of the season, I'd just rather he was the next man up if something happened to our midfielders personally. But yeah, whether we bring another one in, I'm not sure, but I do think it leaves us a little bit short in that area.
Yeah, I mean, Reece, I think on Douglas Luiz, it's the case of Forest willing to pay the fee that we'd agreed with Juventus if he gets the starts, and I feel like that's already getting answered really. But now, as our problem is who we're getting to bring in, or are we going with what we've got? And I don't know if what we've got is enough depth for the rest of the season, especially if we go into the Europa League playoff and get through that, and then how far you get into that competition either.
I think something what's probably missed is that I can't imagine Luiz is happy with the situation, because Anderson and Sangare are playing so well that, Anderson's not been at the levels he was at last season, but are you going to drop him? No. We've all raved about Sangare on this pod. We've all said about Sangare's being in the side makes Anderson better, so are you going to drop him? No. So he probably don't want to sit on the bench. Now, he might want to sit on the bench at Chelsea because it's Chelsea. They're in the Champions League, fighting for Champions League. It's a bit different. So he might not think, well, I'm with respect, I'm at a team who's 17th, can't even get in their team. And he's probably not going to hang around, similar to like Callum Awoniyi, where he thinks, well, I'm just getting odd minutes in the Europa League. I mean, he can't even get a full game in Europa League on Thursday night. So, yeah, it's a shame. I mean, Luiz, what I've seen of him, I think he's a very technically good footballer. He can just see it. I just think that he's probably just not up to fitness levels fully, which is a real shame and very typical Forest, really. I think if we had a fully fit Luiz firing, we'd have a really, really good player on his hands and we'd all be seeing it. It's just that as well, when you're not fully sharp and not fully fit, you need a run of games to get yourself going. He's not kind of getting that, is he, as well? With us, it kind of fits and starts because of how well Sangare and Anderson are as a pair. So, yeah, it is a shame. But that's the way it goes, unfortunately, at Forest. And it just seems when we do get a player like a real quality on paper and a real big name, it doesn't seem to kind of work. You know what I mean? So if he goes, he goes. Will we bring in somebody else? Well, you've got 4 centre mids, haven't you, really? So possibly. I'm not too sure on that. Luca, look, he's a perfect guy for Dyche's style, isn't he? Because he's absolutely massive. He'll make me look small, being 6'7". So yeah, we'll have to see how he goes. You know, he had a really good season with Udinese last year, who were kind of an average Italian Serie A side. He's obviously got a big move to Napoli. It's not happened for him at Napoli. Now, some fans might say, well, let's disregard him because it's not worked out for him at Napoli. But this is the same Napoli who wanted Danny Doyle all summer, who our fans have happily disregarded. So, yeah, we'll have to see, mate. It's a short-term deal, which probably costs us £1 million, which will be worth it if it helps us keep us in the Premier League. If it doesn't work out, then there's no way we're going to be buying him for €40 million. So it's a short-term investment, exactly what I called for under Dyche, because I don't see us going beyond Dyche after this season. So yeah, if De Luis goes and we've obviously brought Luca in, gives us that option. If we can get somebody else in, then who Dyche is going to use and sees as pivotal to the rest of the season to keeping us up, then so be it, in my opinion.
Yeah, Lee's namesake is that I watch a lot of Serie A. Luca was really decent last season for Udinese, 14 goals in a team that was bottom half outfit, play to his strengths, and he'll get goals. I mean, someone rightly nicknamed him in our chat piece of Crouch, so I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Moving on to Ferencváros on Thursday, we're hopefully doing the last preview of the group stage games, or the league phase, or whatever you want to call it. There's a few scenarios which you've put out, Reese. So a question for you all, actually, because if you remember what the outcomes of each result are, Reese, and who we might get. Lewis Morris has asked, who would you guys like in the playoffs? As in, where would you prefer to go? So I think you said the outcome could be Pilsen, Fenerbahce, Bran, and I can't remember who the other one possibly was.
Yeah, so
was it Celta Vigo?
Yeah, so I did a bit of a prediction for the last match day, which is obviously Thursday. All the games kick off at the same time, don't they? Because it's the last match day.
Yeah. So
this is like a personal prediction. So I did all the other fixtures, and then I put in whether we'd win, draw, or lose. So if we win, I think we'll have it'll be between Bran, who are from Norway, and Panathinaikos from Greece, which I'm sure Mr. Marinakis would love that. Draw, I come up with Victoria Pilsen from Czech Republic, or Czechia if you want to be hipster, or Fenerbahce from Turkey, obviously. And if we lost against Ferencváros, who are actually unbeaten in Europa League, and they need to win to get top 8, we'd play Red Star Belgrade, of Serbia, which I'm sure Milenkovic would love, being ex-Partizan, or Celta Vigo from Spain. So, yeah, I'd rather us try and go out and win the game on Thursday, see how we get on. But add to them, for me, I mean, the one that sticks out but would mean us losing would be Red Star for me personally. I think that would be a proper kind of European trip, because we've had this kind of nice ones, haven't we? We've had Seville, lovely city. We've had obviously flying into Porto, lovely city. You know, you flew into kind of Vienna for Graz, another lovely city. Utrecht with Amsterdam. So let's have like a proper. I know Belgrade. You want to go Belgrade? Yeah, Belgrade, I'm sure, is a lovely city as well, but it's a bit obviously more towards Eastern Europe, isn't it? And obviously their fans are fearsome. I think they're the ones with the tunnel, aren't they, Red Star?
Yeah, they are. I think I remember when
Zaveda, if you want to be hipster again and call them that. So
I think I remember when Arsenal played them and they showed the tunnel. It was kind of similar to what you guys had to walk to at Utrecht.
Yeah, that's where we need Milenkovic to be captain, because he'll be up for that.
Christian, who would you like, or do you not care?
I'd like to avoid Fenerbahce, ideally. Not because I'd love to go to Istanbul. I think it'd be great. You know, it's a very massive city. Obviously, I like the fact it's like divided into 2 continents. If you go to Asia and Europe at the same time, obviously it's city of cats if you like cats. So great. But I'd rather save our trip to Istanbul for the final if possible. And the fact Fenerbahce would probably beat us at this current moment in time. So I want us to have the most Southgate route possible. By that I mean teams that we can actually favourable draws all the way through, let the big boys take each other out, and then we end up like scamming like a place in Istanbul against, I don't know, Roma or something in a one-off game. But yeah, I mean, I think from a puristic, like from a drama element, getting Panathinaikos would be hilarious. I think whether I go to Athens, without like a bulletproof vest might be a different story. But I think sure if we lost that game, Deitch probably wouldn't be allowed to leave Greece. He'd probably be in prison for something, let alone anything else for Marinakis. So that would be from a pure like a script writer's perspective, Panathinaikos would be incredible. But I reckon I think I'd like to go. I think Red Star would be quite cool. I want to be somewhere I've not been, if I can even get a ticket, of course. Somewhere I've not been. I've not been to Serbia. I've not been to Greece. So those two are fine. Obviously, I think Vigo could be quite a tough one as well if we get those. I'd like to avoid that if possible. Bran, I know it's a ball ache to get to massively. I mean, we were sort of exploring routes, weren't we? I think obviously Alex has said go to Scotland and get a bloody ferry over to where it is. It's in like this really remote part of Norway. So that could be quite an interesting one. But no, I think
I'd love to go for like the vlog or something. Or
I think I saw a route which was like Bergen to Stavanger, which was like a 40-minute flight, and then I think it was a flight to Aberdeen, and then a flight to London Luton, something like that. Yeah. It's in a place called Bergen, Bran, and it's kind of nowhere near Oslo, which is not the best.
Yeah,
Fredrikstad was.
So I think ideally the Southgate route would be best. So whatever team best fits that description. From a personal perspective, I mean, I'd love to go to Serbia. I think that'd be quite a nice place to go to. Belgrade's, quite a big city. Again, it would be also pretty nuts. But like I said, that tunnel, whatever else, it'd be pretty fearsome experience. But yeah, I think just from the scriptwriter perspective, Panathinaikos would be box office. Because can you imagine if we won? Like Marinakis be sprinting onto the pitch, it'd be chaos. It'd be front and back page news all over the world. So I don't know. I think that although if we lost, sack everyone. So the players I suddenly might fight like non-league, get 11 new players turn up the next week or something. So
fair. Lee, anything, anywhere that takes your fancy if you were going to go?
I mean, we'll start calling Man United Newton Heath with you, Per, saying Red Star Belgrade. They've not been called that for about 20 years, have they?
Are you a hipster then and going to say Creveni Zaveda or whatever they call it?
No, because I don't want them. You've stolen my thunder with them.
You'll be calling Inter Milan Internazionale next.
Milan's AC Milan, isn't it? So,
Milan.
Yeah. Is there any situation where we can still play Celtic? That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, there is, but I think they'll beat Utrecht. They're at home to Utrecht on Thursday. So I fancy Celtic to beat Utrecht personally. So there's a possibility depending on results.
I tend to agree with Christian. I'm not going to say the W word that friend of the pod, Elliot, doesn't want us to say. Favourable was a good skirt around, Christian, so I'll go with that. Any kind of... I just want to win a game. I think in our situation, winning breeds confidence for the players. It gets the fans off the back of... And before anyone comes at me in the comments, I appreciate I've been on the back of the players and I'm not skirting around that or anything. But I think it does... If we keep winning, if we can go on a little run... with the fixtures we've got as well, if we can keep winning, I think it'll temper everything down a little bit, and hopefully, in turn, the results can, keep on an upward trajectory. I guess out of the ones you've said, I really don't want to play Fenerbahce yet. I think that would be a very tough fixture with our current style of play. Yeah, just someone. Maybe the Norway ones. That route you said to Norway as well. I bet that's still cheaper than getting a train from Mansfield to Nottingham. By the way,
probably to London and back.
Yeah. So maybe the Norway one would be the one for me, because obviously it would mean that we'd won the game on Thursday as well.
I mean, I'm definitely in the camp of like, let's keep winning games. I mean, I'm not going to skirt around it. I've been right against Deitch and even our club captain this week. I've if people who follow me on Twitter, I've told them where to go, to be honest. So, but I still want us to win games of football, and I don't want us to fob Thursday off, because I like to go and beat Ferencváros on Robbie Keane's Ferencváros on Thursday. Why not? Because we should be striving to beat these teams, and you never know when you're going to get to watch your team in Europe again. Do you know what I mean? So let's go and beat them. Let's go and show some mettle. Do you know what I mean? But I don't. But other than that, I'm not really sure where we're going from there. It'll be an interesting game, be a tough game. I think their fans will bring the atmosphere. Anything to add before I get into Elliot's fact of the day?
Yeah, they'll be the best fans, I think, them in terms of, because they'll all be white ultras dressed in black. But they actually lost today in a top of the table clash against a team called Igor, who are actually top of their league at the minute. So lost 3-1 at home.
Their best player's
So
just gone to Bournemouth. He came on yesterday.
Tough. That's it. Yeah. So, like I said, they're unbeaten. So, they're not going to be no mugs, are they? I'll put some stats out in a week on his Twitter and Facebook, and obviously I'm doing a pod on Tuesday evening, which will be out Wednesday morning for like a preview with a Hungarian football expert. So it'd be nice to chat. And look, this season, as we've said, it's been very messy, and these European trips are what you kind of enjoy as much as Braga till the football was good. Yeah, the football spoiled it, but I still want to go as far as we can in this competition, personally.
I think if you're someone that's like between the ages of 20 and maybe even 40, maybe even upwards, to be fair, I think you want Victoria Pilsen and have a trip to Prague, because it'll be like going to Amsterdam, and it's just another stag destination, basically.
Not far from Prague as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Another knees up, basically. So yeah. Right, we're going to get into Elliot's fact of the day. Here it is for everyone. I mean, YouTube, it'll be a bit weird because it'll just be audio.
Hi everyone, Elliot here with today's fact. So today's fact comes from the Manchester Evening News this week, and it's that police reveal that a woman was arrested for shoplifting and she had a whole salami in her knickers. When asked why by staff, she responded it was because she was missing her Italian boyfriend. Up the Reds.
I mean, fantastic stuff. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't throw in anything about L'Astoria in there, Reece, to complement the Italian part of all that.
I'm actually going on Sunday.
You going on Sunday, are you?
Yeah, because Emma's always wanted a roast dinner from them. She's never had one before from L'Astoria. So I said, we'll go after one Europa League game at home when we're at home on the Sunday, and this is the one. So
other Italian restaurants are available.
Yeah, they are.
Well,
none are as good in Nottingham.
They all keep going to that pizza place, don't they, at the moment?
Pizza Masseur. Yeah, it is very nice there. Other pizza restaurants are available. I think you went to Pizza Pilgrims, didn't you? Which is good, and the Slice and Brew, and
very good.
Rudy's, which are all good. What I do love about Nottingham, and it keeps the city centre going. I know last story is West Bridgeford, but there's so many brilliant independent restaurants and that, because
we need some of them to sponsor the pod. We can't keep giving them all this free advertisement, can we? Bloody Nora.
I've asked last story and they said no.
Absolute joke. Poor. It's because you're giving them free advertisement every week. Yeah. That's why. They don't need to sponsor us. I'm
trying to get my discount, aren't I, for Luca?
That's it. Well, not Lorenzo, but yes, Luca.
He might be in, Lorenzo Luca. Obviously, Savona's a guest now.
He's going to need a lot of. He's going to need a lot of pasta to be to fuel him. He's a big boy.
Nuno's final. What was the final Last Supper was in last story. I'll have you know as well before he got sacked.
Bloody Nora. Is there anything else to finish? Oh, we'll do score predictions obviously for Ferencváros. Christian, I'll start with yourself. I mean, we don't kind of know what team we're going to go with.
Yeah,
this is the very difficult part, because, I mean, just quickly, do you think the Sunday game against Palace is a little bit more important than Ferencváros?
Oh, massively, yeah. I mean, I think even going by Reece's predictions, I mean, it almost puts us at out of the three scenarios in terms of the teams that you're facing. If we were to draw, that would probably be the worst outcome on Thursday, just because of the fact that you might get Fenerbahce. So, whereas winning or losing, okay, you might get Celta Vigo, but I don't think they're not as strong as Fenerbahce for me personally. So
the 7th in La Liga, and they're placed below Betis, Vigo. So there's
and as we saw when we played Betis, they're decent, but equally for 45 minutes we absolutely battered them. So I don't know. I mean, it's just but I think going by what Dyche said after the game today, I think it's very likely you'll see 11 changes. You'll probably see a few academy boys in from the start. I wouldn't even be surprised to see Jimmy Sinclair start at left back, to be honest, or someone instead of Nico. So it's very clear that while he's not necessarily tossing it off, he is mostly tossing it off. He'll play a reserve team. You might see Angus Gunn's debut, so there'll be a few collector's items if you are going to the game. But because realistically, that game against Palace is far more important at this moment in time. Because I think if it was a case of if there was still a viable chance that we could get top 8 without everyone above us losing, it's a different story. But because it's pretty much set in stone that we're going to get playoffs, I don't think it matters as much. Obviously, I take Reese's point. You'd like to be at home second leg, but you still got to play them twice anyway. So, and as we've seen with playoffs, it doesn't. We've had playoff spells at home and away. First leg isn't really like the Oval game, for example. We were at home second leg, and look how that went. So it's not necessarily given. So I think I don't know. I mean, like that guy said earlier, if I tip us to lose, we might end up winning. So I don't know. It's difficult because who's going to play? Is he going to play Zion Blake up front, for example?
He's a winger, so that would be unusual.
Yeah, I mean,
I
think if he plays Igor, it probably tells you that Luca will start on Sunday. But otherwise, I'm expecting full rotation. So he'll be Gunn. It'll probably be Abbott at centre back because obviously Cunha can't play. Savona at right back, Morato left centre back, probably Sinclair at left back. Yates. If Luiz is still here, he'll be in midfield. Then you have Bakwa and Doy and McAtee is 3 behind. God knows, maybe another kid striker. So is that enough to beat Ferencvaros? In some places, yes. In others, no. It'd be very Forest to draw that game and get Fenerbahce. Very Forest. But it kind of feels like you're throwing dart at a wall because you don't necessarily know what is a real idea. I'll be optimistic and say we'll win 2-1. Go, why not?
Well, Jimmy Sinclair deserves I mean, what a goal he scored in the week, by the way, against PSG in the Youth International Cup. So yeah, come on. I mean, in pre-season we was all camping for him to play because we just thought he was pretty good in pre-season. But he's an 18-year-old kid. We kind of got to remember that it's a big step up. But Lee, prediction for Thursday?
I think it will be difficult to win, just on the basis that they need to win to guarantee top 8. So they're going to go quite strong. Let's be positive, though. I'll go for a goal-scoring 3-2 win for Forest.
Brill. Reese?
Again, it's kind of like who we're going to play. I think Sells will retain his place personally. I don't think Gunn will ever play for us, but then I think it'll probably be Savona, Abbott, Morato. I think Nico and Aina will probably get half each, maybe at left back. Yatesy, Douglas Luiz, if he's still here. Same 3, what Christian mentioned, Bakwa and Doy, McAtee, and then probably Jesus up front. I mean, just going through Ferencvaros' results in Europa League, I mean, they've not played anyone of real reputable nature.
They're sort of there by chance rather than design, aren't they?
Yeah,
really?
So they drew with Pilsen, beat Genk, beat Salzburg away, which is a decent win, beat Ludogorets at home, drew with Fenerbahce away, which is a good point, beat Rangers at home, who have been out of this competition for quite a while, and drew the other night with Panathinaikos. So, again, I probably agree with Christian. Is that team capable enough on paper to beat Ferencvaros, what we've just named? Probably, but they've got to go out and show it, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of just bandaged together, isn't it, really? Because none of them have had, I'd say, loads and loads of game time recently. So I'm going to go for we should be winning, really, but I'm going to go for a draw because I think they'll be up for it because they know a result will get them in the top 8. You know, like I say, I'd imagine they'll bring a couple of thousand, so I'm going to go for 1-1, and then they'll stay unbeaten. And then hopefully we'll meet again in the knockouts. We'll get a trip to Budapest and we can kick them back to Hungary, hopefully, that time.
Yeah, that would be good. I'm going to go 2-1, actually. I'm going to be positive, and we'll sneak a 2-1 win somehow. Just want to be positive for a change because I've been too negative the last few days with everything that's gone off.
It'd be really nice to see like a McAtee or something get a goal, someone like that, or a Bakwa or an Igor, just someone. And you think like we've had with Taiwo today, where you're kind of thinking, God, it's all but over for, and Jesus as well, in terms of, he got 1 goal before today. Should have had 2 because the one at Liverpool should have counted, but that's by the by. Just someone who can maybe kickstart their season a little bit. Because it takes is one moment in football. So
absolutely,
that's what I'm hoping for on Thursday.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for everyone that's joined us. Thank you for everyone that got in touch via comments or slept on it thoughts. 390 people there was in here. So do drop us a like and a subscribe. It's all free. We'll be back on Wednesday morning, there'll be a pod out with Reese and a Hungarian football expert to talk about Ferencváros, for those that don't really know too much about Hungarian football and how Robbie Keane is communicating to these Hungarians with his thick Irish accent. That'll be interesting to know. Probably some sort of interpreter like Liam Rossini at Strasbourg, I'd imagine.
Can I just give you a final fact before we go? I heard this on TalkSPORT. So, the guy who Bournemouth have signed, he was actually in the B team when Robbie Keane joined and was about to go out on loan. And apparently had one last training session with him. And Robbie Keane was like, "Who's this guy?" There was like, "Oh, he's going out on loan." He was like, "No chance. He's staying in the first team." And ever since then, he's obviously kicked on and got a Premier League move. So fair play to him and Keane.
Yeah, absolutely. Got talent spotting talent. So yeah, fair play. Thank you very much for everyone joining us. If you can, like I said, drop us a like, subscribe. It's all free. We'll see you back Wednesday, hopefully discussing a win on Friday or some sort of positive result going into that Palace game. But until then, come on, you Reds.